Hi there, welcome and thank you so much for purchasing my simple zero-based budget tracker. I'm genuinely excited for you because if you use this consistently, it can completely transform how you manage your money. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how to set up and use your spreadsheet. It's designed to marry impact with simplicity, so don't worry. Once you go through this once or twice, it will feel like second nature. Let's get started. When you open the spreadsheet, you'll see 3 tabs. The first tab is your instructions tab. This is divided into 3 sections. The first section gives you a clear step-by-step summary on how to customize and use your budget. Most of what I'll explain in this video is already highlighted here at a high level. The second section explains your charts and graphs, and it's super helpful once you start to review your numbers. And the third section is an FAQ. The second tab is your custom categories tab. This is where you add any categories that don't already exist in the drop-down menu in your budget. We'll come back to this shortly. The third tab is where all the magic happens. It's your main budget tab. This is where you create your weekly or monthly budgets. Before we touch anything, here's something very important. I strongly recommend that you duplicate the main budget tab immediately and leave the original untouched. That way, if you ever accidentally delete a formula or make a mistake, you always have a clean master copy to refer back to or to duplicate again. It's a very small step that can save you a lot of stress later on. Now let's walk through the layout. At the very top, you will see a customized table section. Here you enter your name, select the currency from the drop-down menu, input the start and end date of your budget period. You can budget bi-weekly, that's about every 2 weeks, or monthly, it's completely up to you. Once you select your currency, it automatically populates across the entire spreadsheet. And when you enter a new month, the word for the month box updates with a fresh financial tip to guide your focus. Now let's begin budgeting. At the start of every period, begin with the income table. The first row is your starting balance. This is your rollover from the previous period. If you underspent and have extra money, it will be positive. If you overspent, it will be negative. If you're starting fresh, leave it at 0. Then enter your income categories and planned amounts. Say for example, I'm expecting 2 paychecks for my budget period. Paycheck 1, I'm going to state that I'm expecting $1,500, and paycheck 2, I'm also going to state a planned amount of $1,500 and also enter $1,000 as the expected amount that I'm going to get from my side hustle. This gives us a total of $4,000 automatically calculated and populated on the spreadsheet. You notice some common income categories are already pre-filled, so paycheck, bonus, cashback, dividends. You can decide to keep them, edit them, or completely clear them. Make it yours. Next, move into savings, investments, and the debt payoff table. For example, I'm going to pre-fill that I'm saving $500 towards travel, $250 towards my car purchase, $500 towards a GIC, and another $500 towards paying off a credit card debt. Unlike income, these tables don't have rollover amounts. Only income carries over. Now let's move on to bills, which are your fixed expenses. These are amounts that typically stay the same each month. So think rent, phone bills, internet. I'm going to pre-fill this quickly. And again, the system automatically calculates the total. To enter a bill, select the category from the drop-down menu, enter the due date and input the planned amount. If you pay something multiple times in a month, separate the dates with a comma. If you don't see a category you need, go to the Custom Categories tab. In the User Entered Categories section, find the correct type. So bills, aka fixed expenses, or expense, aka variable expense, and type your category name. For example, I'm going to enter parking as a fixed expense, then return to the main tab and you'll see it available in your drop-down. Very importantly, please do not touch the other tables in the categories tab. They contain formulas. Next is the expense table for your variable spend. So again, think groceries, clothing, bills, miscellaneous expenses that might change month to month. For each category, mark whether it's a need or a want, honestly, and enter your planned amount. By now, you should have filled out the planned amounts for 6 tables, so income, savings, investments, debt payoff, bills, and expenses. Now let's review the amount left to budget section. This is your zero-based budgeting tool. It calculates your total income, including rollover, and subtracts everything else that you've allocated. If it stays 0, amazing, every dollar has a job. If it's positive, you still have money to assign. You can increase savings, investments, debt payments, or adjust an expense category. Personally, I like to first start with increasing my savings or investment. If it's negative, you've allocated more than you're earning, that means that you have to reduce something, ideally wants before needs. If reducing isn't realistic, it may mean that you carry that shortfall on a credit card temporarily, but if this happens, it's always a signal to evaluate income growth. Now let's talk about entering actual numbers. As you receive income or move money into savings or investments, enter the actual amount in those tables. For example, when you receive your $1,500 paycheck, enter it. When you transfer $500 to savings, record the actual amount saved. For bills, when you pay them, enter the actual amount and check the paid confirmation box. Now for variable expense, you do not enter actuals in the expense table. Instead, you use the transaction tracker. Each time you spend money, select the date, choose the category, enter the amount, and add a note if needed. The spreadsheet automatically totals your spending and updates the expense table. For example, if you spend $50 on clothing twice, the expense table will automatically show $100. Please do not manually type actual numbers into the expense table. It will break formulas or double count. Now let's talk about the summary section, and this table should not be touched. The spend summary shows totals across categories and your true remaining balance. The expense status table shows how much you spent in each category, what percentage of your budget that represents, and a status emoji. If you stay within budget, you see a smiley face, slightly over budget, a concerned face, and way over budget, an angry face. The goal is to have as many smiley faces as possible, but if you consistently go over in a category, it might mean that your budget needs adjusting. Now let's review our chart. These give you visual clarity. The allocation pie chart shows the percentage of your income that's allocated towards various sectors. Next is the needs versus wants chart that highlights spending patterns, so how much you're spending on your needs versus your wants. Your third chart is your plan versus actual cash flow chart, and it shows alignment. Very intuitive, shows the amount you plan for each category versus the actual amount that's going towards that category. And then lastly, my personal favorite is the top 3 overspend chart, which shows your biggest overages. If you don't overspend, that chart stays empty, which is a win. As you continue to populate data and spend money, this chart is going to populate with the top 3 categories that you've overspent in. Also at the top, you see 4 summary boxes: the total actual income, total actual bills and expenses, your own budget score, which shows how well your actual budget aligns with the planned amount. I recommend that this is viewed at the end of the budgeting period. And then lastly, you have your final amount that's left over. And this final number actually becomes next month's actual rollover amount. At the end of your budget period, here's what to do. Right click the tab, click duplicate, rename it. For example, I'm entering March 2026. Update the start and end dates. If your categories and planned amounts haven't changed, simply clear the numbers carefully. Highlight only the amount cells, not the headers, currency columns, and make sure you're deleting values only. For the expense table, do not touch the actual column. For the transaction tracker, clear the entries but leave the structure intact, specifically the currency column. For bills, uncheck paid confirmations. And that's it. You're ready for a new month. If you use this tracker consistently, like truly consistently, I have no doubt that you gain clarity, discipline, and momentum towards your financial goal. Thank you again for trusting me and purchasing this tracker. I'd absolutely love your feedback, and my email is in the description box below if you have questions. You've got this. Stay consistent, stay intentional, and let every dollar work for you. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.